I want to turn to this morning's speaker in our first conversation. I'm absolutely delighted to be able to introduce and have a conversation with Ben Verwaayen. As CEO of Alcatel-Lucent, Ben's expressed a strong and consistent commitment to, as he said, building significant and sustainable value for his company shareholders. And if you look at what the company has done and what some of the bedrock is for this, they start with a vision where they talk about enriching people's lives by transforming the way the world communicates, and a mission to use our unique capabilities to ensure that our customers thrive, our business grows, and we enrich the personal communications experience for people around the world. What does this mean for CSR at Alcatel-Lucent? Ben again has said it is about being a value-driven company where values are not words on a piece of paper, but things that we do automatically. It's about being a company that is inclusive and has respect for the individual, respect for differences, and respect for cultures. I've had the privilege of working with Ben and his team, and I would add on a personal note and as a leader that I've observed an absolutely unique and fine blend, if I could boil it down, of empathy and extreme impatience, which is a really nice combination in meeting the very big challenges that we all have. Before coming to Alcatel-Lucent in 2008, Ben had leadership positions at BT Group, where he obviously had great influence in this area, Lucent Technologies, KPN, and ITT. He's a director at UPS, and he chairs the Confederation of British Industries Committee on Climate Change, and I believe they're not letting you go even though you're no longer leading a British company. So there he is. Ben's also a true pan-European, and I noted with interest in his bio that in addition to various awards in his native Netherlands, he's managed to be decorated by both the British and the French, which takes some doing, and maybe doing his little bit to bring the two sides of the channel closer together, maybe more than anyone since Henry V, but he can address that later. I also understand that he's a passionate fan of European football, and I did just find out at breakfast that despite his move across the channel, Arsenal still gets and will forever receive his love as a team. So that's nice. Ben is going to be focusing his remarks on the role of business, the global role, leadership role that business needs to play in meeting the challenges that face us. So less on activities at Alcatel-Lucent. I do want to give you a very brief sketch of the company because I think it's important to understand the context of what he's working on and the perspective he's bringing to this. For those of you who don't know, Alcatel-Lucent provides solutions that enable communication service providers, enterprises, and governments to deliver voice, data, and video communication. So the solutions, the equipment that make our communication networks work. It's a company that's a leader in several important segments of the business, number one in broadband access, optics, CDMA, and so forth, and a leader in Western Europe in terms of enterprise telephony. It's a global enterprise, 77,000 employees in 130 countries, with sales split more or less evenly between Europe, North America, and other markets, Latin America, Middle East, etc. It's also an innovator, and many of us may have forgotten that this is the company which has inherited the legacy of the Bell Labs. So Alcatel-Lucent Bell Labs represents $2.5 billion in R&D investments, 26,000 patents, more than 2,700 of which were just obtained last year, and 7 Nobel Prizes in physics shared by 13 of their scientists. So very much a powerhouse in innovation. As I mentioned, as we will have a chance to hear from him and then have some questions on, Ben has been a very outspoken leader on the role of business in meeting our great social challenges. In a recent keynote that he did elsewhere, he said, "We are not going to rebuild what has been in the past, but build what is sustainable for the future." Please join me in welcoming Ben Verwaayen to the stage.
Good morning, everybody. It's impressive to see so many of you here on a Friday morning after 3 days of what I understand is intense work that you already have done. And I believe that I don't need to be an advocate for the issue of corporate social responsibility here. You're all already converted. So I don't want to talk today too much about the need to get ourselves into shape, other than to put it into a perspective, and a perspective that will put a lot of burden on our organizations, not just to talk about the things we talk about, but to really change the way we act. We do have a crisis. It is true. I mean, if you open the page, you may think that the crisis is all about bonuses for bankers and maybe healthcare in this country, or maybe the issues that are local in some of the other markets. But the crisis, of course, is much more intense. The crisis we have today is a crisis that is not only, for the first time, a global crisis. It affects each and every one of us.